And that was why he started this yeshiva called Merkaz Harav, and we are a sister or a child of this philosophy of Rav Kook. I once met, I'm a fundraiser, I met a very wealthy man. Before I went in, my friend there said, listen, this guy is very wealthy, philanthropist, he doesn't have a lot of time. Three reasons, the world in Jerusalem called Har Amor. And I had to give him 3 reasons in 3 minutes to donate to Har Amor. So I said, I know I have 3 minutes. I have 3 things why you should donate to Har Amor. Torah, Eretz Yisrael. In these 3 areas, he has a revolution. What are the revolution about Eretz Yisrael? Now is the time. That's in Israel. That every Jew is in. We're all together. We're all one nation. We all have this inherent holiness that is called Am Yisrael. Other people spoke about it. Rav Kook expanded on it, and that was the second focus. The third focus is Torah Yisrael. That it's not enough to learn the Torah, but Rav Kook opened a track in the yeshiva of Emunah. That was it. The rich guy said, the philanthropist said, okay, go home, write me a 3-page essay about what is the connecting thread in all of the books of Emunah of Rav Kook, in the curriculum of Rav Kook. So there's a program of the curriculum of Rav Kook of learning Emunah, admiration of God, and your intentions, having the right intentions, developing your character. Unless you do a little bit of personal work, you can't start moving to talking about the nation. And here we are. So as I mentioned the story of Rav Rechel, that Rav Tzvita told him to go back 4 times and learn Mesilat Yesharim, and then you can go to Kuzari. So I have been teaching here 4 times. For me it took 18 years. Now we're ready to go into Kuzari, and we'll explain what is Kuzari all about. To explain it, I want to show you something from a siddur. There's a siddur on Shabbos. There's a prayer that we say right before we start Kedusha, right before we start the Baruch Hu. There's a prayer that we say. The prayer is right after Nishmat. We say, Ranenu tzadikim b'Shochenad Marom v'Kadosh Mesho, Ranenu tzadikim b'Hashem u'lisharim navatila. Did anyone ever see this prayer? Every Shabbos, every Yom Tov, we say this prayer. We don't know who wrote it. But if you look at this prayer, look what it says here. So, Befi Yesharim Titromam. In the mouth of people who are upright or just or holy or Yesharim, we'll explain what is Yesharim. Yesharim means
righteous,
straight, or in other words, it says about God when He created man. It says Shlomo Meir said, "Elohim bara et adam yashar." God created us with a direct focus for the right things for God. Vehema bikshu cheshbonot. We did the sin of the Adam and Eve, and the sin, and so on. And we started straight. We started, how do you say, Elohai neshama shenatat vi Torah. We started with the right intentions, the right directions, and we went off. But so Yesharim, if you want to learn Mesilat Yesharim, you have to first of all be honest. Say to yourself, an animal is born. It doesn't need to learn anything, develop itself. But we say, no, you're not an animal. You're a human being, and you start. Yeshar, you have to be honest and say, you know what, I want to grow. I need to develop. I need to become a better person. Then, besiftei tzadikim titbarach. Then the Mesilat Yesharim has 3 goals. Has 3. Besiftei tzadikim titbarach. So the first level is tzadikim. Hashem is uplifted. That's the whole purpose of us learning Mesilat Yesharim. First of all, we all have to become tzaddikim. The first 3 characters, Zehirut, Zizut, and Nekiyut, are to become a tzaddik. That's what's expected from everybody. And and that's what we worked on. All of the classes we learned were to become a tzaddik. We just did a siyum last week, and that is the end of. That's the first 12 chapters are becoming a tzaddik. Everyone's expected to do it. A tzaddik is someone who does what's expected of him. But then what do you have? That's the lips. Ubilshon chasidim titkadash. Then you have the tongue. Bilshon chasidim. A chassid is somebody that goes above the letter of the law. Your father asked for a drink of water. He came home after a long day. You go into your room, you into the kitchen, you say, wait, if he wants water, he's probably also hungry. So you go above expect. That's a chassid. Chassid is someone that goes above, lifnim mishurat adin, does above, not just, I get away with what's expected of me. Halavai, we should all do what's expected of us, but that's the second stage. And then so now we went from the lips to the tongue. Right, with siftei tzadikim, titbarach. Ubilshon chasidim, the tongue is deeper, is more internal. And then ubekerev kedoshim, a person who's kadosh. Kerev is your guts. That's already a person that is and prophecy and prophets. Today you have Ruach HaKodesh and Ruach HaTumah. The Ruach, it comes from inside. Ruach, it's like wind. It blows you. It tells you what to do. It guides you. It's the highest spiritual level you can reach today. Okay, that's kadosh. The steps that a person took to become Ruach HaKodesh. Amazing. So now let me ask you a question. If this is the highest level that a person can reach, we went from the lips to the tongue to the guts, what could be higher than this? What could be higher than this is the highest level a person can reach in reality? What's one level above that?
Fish.
The next level above it, who wants to give it a shot? Can read the continuation of this prayer. So this prayer is the program of Emunah, the program of Siyat Yisharim. But then what does it say? Ubemakelot revavot amcha beit Yisrael. The nation, ubemakalot, as high as an individual can reach, as high as a person can reach, the highest spiritual level. A person who can connect to the Jewish nation. He goes a million times higher than any individual can reach. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. This is shocking. We know, let me ask you a question. Who is greater? Avram Avinu or Moshe Rabbeinu? Who's on a higher spiritual level? And I know we say, it's like, Moshe Rabbeinu. No, there's levels, there's Yeridat HaDorot, the generations. Unfortunately, there's this, in universities, they study something called Bikorat HaMikra, which is, critics of the what do they call them? Scriptures. Now, what do they say? They say that there's Yeridat HaDorot. They say we're on the highest level, right? Because we're thinking people, we're educated, we are enlightened, we have all the knowledge. People before us were primitive, pagan, type of people. That's the way they look at our fathers and mothers. The way we look at it is we started at the top and it goes down. So who's greater, Moshe Rabbeinu or Avram Avinu? Who?
Abraham.
So first of all, there's no question that Avram Avinu is greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. Where do we learn it from? It says in the Gemara that when Hashem told Avram Avinu, go and take the people out, and we know what happened in Egypt, and then there was all the suffering, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Lama herot al amazeh? Why are you suffering? Why are you making this nation suffer? He questioned God's way of running the world. And God says, Chaval al de'avdin velo mishtakrin. Too bad that we lost. That where are my faithful students? On the higher level, Avram Avinu, I tell him to go sacrifice his son. Why is it? Va'era el Avraham ve'el Yitzchak ve'el Shaddai u'shmi Hashem lo nadati lehem. I revealed myself to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and I didn't tell them the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. They never got the revelation of God's four-lettered name.
Because they weren't yet.
Oh, so as an individual, Moshe. Now there's a nation Amir, your food's there. Now there's a nation, and the nation is higher than any individual can reach. That's why the name of God now is revealed, because now there's a nation. The purpose of God creating Avram Avinu was to create a nation, and the nation would sanctify God's name, and that's the whole purpose of creating. Reveal my name to Avram Avinu, because now there's a nation. So even though on a personal level Moshe Rabbeinu is less, but on a collective level the nation exists. He's higher. So it's like we are in midgets. On the nation is by the nation. They are performing the sin of the golden calf. What does God say? Lech red kishichet amcha. Go down, because your nation fell. Prophecy only comes when the nation, it's like a pyramid. You have spiritual people, more spiritual, more spiritual. The highest level of spiritual, those are the people that receive prophecy. Rav Kook, at one point, it says that he felt a prophet. Prophet? Is that what's happening here? Because I feel like I'm getting something close to prophecy. And it can't be, because the nation is not there. Right? All of the nation has to be uplifted to be on that, the peak. The highest level of spiritual people can reveal this prophecy. But Rav Kook says, what am I, a false prophet? And he says, no, sfiche nevuah. Same way you have a tree, and sometimes you have these little branches. Therefore, lech red kishichet amcha, go down. Rashi says, klum kavod nataticha ela bishvilam. They fell, you fall. You're only here as a representative of the Jewish nation. Once they're down, you're down. So you understand now the idea of the greatness of Moshe Rabbeinu. We don't have any, he is the greatest of the greats, but there's the generations go down. The story of the Kuzari is written about 1,000 years ago, and we're going to start reading the words inside. Okay, it's a long book, and we're going to learn it together, and hopefully we will grow together and learn together. I'm very excited. So let's start the book. Sha'ol sha'alu oti. Iti min ha'ta'anot ve'atshuvot. I was asked, can you answer me about the discussions? Ta'anot ve'atshuvot. By the way, we're going to be learning what?
Where are you?
The first
gate?
First Ma'amar Rishon. Isn't that where it starts?
I say yes, upon being asked as to what arguments have been presented, right?
Yeah. Amar Rabbi Yehuda ben Shaul.
No, the first gate.
Everyone, we're on the same page here? Amar,
Faith, Emunah.
Ma'amar Rishon.
There's the first gate.
The first.
So
It starts off Amar Rabbi Yehuda ben Shaul. Do we see where we are?
Asher.
Yeah.
Asher, what version you have?
I have this version.
Maybe that's the reason why, because this one is.
Yeah, but the text in it should be the same, right?
No.
Now it's very important to know we mentioned the Gaon of Vilna. The Gaon of Vilna said that we must study these two books that we said, the Mesiyat Yesharim and the Kuzari. No, I got it for him. It's for him.
We have the. This one we have. That's our.
By the way, it's good to have different versions. How does that work?
The history of Yehuda Levi. It's like an introduction to Yehuda Levi.
Here. No, this is something else. This is a different book. I don't know what this is. This is not the book. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know which book.
So a whole bunch of gates. That's basically the book. The book is all these gates.
Maybe that's a trend. That's a commentary.
This is a commentary.
It's a commentary.
Yeah.
This one's only English. Fine, as long as it starts with the first chapter. Okay. So Rabbi Yehuda Levi lived 1,000 years ago. We're talking about. Okay. Let me see if this one has it. Yeah, here. This is it. This is the book that has the. Again, if you don't have it, I translate it. It's helpful if you have it, but here we go. Just look for chapter 1, and we're starting. So Rabbi Yehuda Levi, he lived 1,000 years ago.
Fundamentals of the Kuzari.
Lived 1,000 time of the Rambam, the two great giants that dealt with these concepts of confusion in the Jewish community were two people, Rabbi Yehuda Levi and the Rambam. Rabbi Yehuda Levi does what's called inreach, and he speaks to your soul. It's intellectual, but it's more convincingly convinced. And the Rambam goes outreach. He goes and takes on head all the philosophers, all the greatest thinkers, and he in his book Moreh Nevuchim, A Guide to the Perplexed. So this book is to convince the convinced. It will expand your knowledge. It will open your mind. It will answer the question. Yehuda ben Shaul zichron levracha, Shaol shaluti al ma sheyesh iti ta'anot u'tshuvot. I was asked to. Oh, and I just want to say one more thing about the Gaon of Vilna. The Gaon of Vilna now is because this book is. You need to learn many books, but this book has all of the foundations that you can know how to believe in God. And this is like a major importance, because you have to know how to focus on, give me the most important book that gives me the foundations of everything. Because sometimes you get stuck on, side things and you never see the big picture. So this book really gives you the foundations. And the Gaon of Vilna said, Ikarei emunat Yisrael v'Torah tluim bo. If you want to get the foundations, now it's the language that the Gaon of Vilna uses is very important. Why does he say Ikarei emunat Yisrael v'Torah tluim bo? And this is very important to know. Why doesn't he start with Torah? The foundations of Torah and the faith of Israel. No, the foundation of Israel and Torah. First, you need to understand the nation. Once you understand the nation, God first created the nation, and then He took us out of Egypt and then gave us the Torah. And when the bracha we say, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, first He chose us, v'natan lanu et Torato. That's why I heard a beautiful idea from Rav Sharki. Why is it that there's no holidays that we have? It's a holiday, no problem, you can do it a month later. Concept of nation, because you can look at a spiritual search. I can have a spiritual connection with God.
As something individual.
Judaism is not a religion; it's a nation. If it was a religion, you keep the religion, you're in. You don't keep the religion, you're out. Right? And here, no, you're Jewish. You're born Jewish. No matter what you do, no matter how far you go, you stay Jewish, because it's not a religion; it's a nation. And it also this connection to the nation, which is through the. But first, you internalize. That's why there's Pesach, because of the fear that you're going to come to Shavuot, you're going to come out, and you're going to skip Pesach, and you're going to say, "Oh, it's a nice religion. Like it's great. It gives you a spiritual uplifting. It uplifts you." And it's spiritually uplifting. It's very nice. It's nice to have a religion. So because of that danger and that reason, that's why it's so crucial. There's no such a thing like to receive the Torah without first coming through the Jewish people. That's why we say, Amech Ami, B'Toratech Torati. When Ruth wanted to become Jewish, and she is the ultimate convert, and the ultimate, we learned so many things about conversion through Ruth. And what did she say? Amech Ami, B'Toratech Torati. You must accept both. Right? There's some people that are not Jewish. They're in Israel. They go to the army. They're superly passionate about the nation, but they don't want the Torah. It doesn't work. Some people say, "Oh, just convert him because they love the nation. Torah of Eretz Yisrael, first Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. You cannot bypass the nation to get to spirituality, to get to godliness. There's only one way to get there, through the nation. The same way a person can be a super talented work with, now he can learn music. So the same way you have this nation, and then the expansion of the nation is the Torah, is the revelation of how do you say, growing this connection, growing this relationship, growing this talent, this bringing out into the reality, keeping the mitzvot, is the way that we do that. Okay, so let's go to the reading the words of the Rabbi Levi. So he says like this. I was asked, give me answers. Ala cholkim aleinu min hafilosofim ve'anshe hatorot ve'al haminim hacholkim al hamon Beit Yisrael. So basically, the Rabbi Levi is dealing with three groups of people that are attacking the Jewish religion or tradition or beliefs or faiths. Who are these three groups? Ma'aminei hadatot acherot, people like Christians and Muslims, and minim mibnei Yisrael. Who are these minim? Right, these heretics. We don't really in Christianity, but also could be there was the karaim. They're right. They disappeared. It was a very. How can I debate? How can I give answers to these different philosophers, Muslims, and Jews who were confused? Hamon Beit. Okay. Remembered. I remembered that way back there was a story like this, similar story. Asher haya etzel melech Kuzar. There was a kingdom somewhere in Russia, a king. Hanichnas badat. He wanted to be Jewish. For me. Kasher nizkar v'noda v'distifrei yamim. This is something that the main understanding of, it's important. We say, when we say amen, we say amen. It means I believe it. It's true. Mi ke'elokeinu, nodeh le'elokeinu. There is nobody like God. En ke'elokeinu. Who is God? Mi ke'eloheinu. And then nodeh le'eloheinu. The first person to say, Mi Hashem asher eshma bekolo. Who is God that I should listen to him? Is who? Is Paro. He said, let my people. Mi Hashem to ask. The only question is, how do you ask it? Do you put an exclamation mark at the end of it? Who is God that I should listen to him? Or do you say, asher eshma? Who is God? If you're truly asking because you want to know. Your child, it says, Targilenu. You teach a child asking, Mi Hashem, Asher Eshma Kolo. You have to ask yourself, okay, do I want to keep doing it? Is it what? Is it? Did they lie to me? Did they tell me stories? Are these primitive, crazy? By the way, for thousands of years, it's an intellectual revolution. Till then, also in Christianity, people were working day and night. Nobody had time to think. And especially in the Christian world, they were, or even they were forbidden. They were forbidden to learn to read and write, and so they didn't want people to ask questions. And in Judaism also, people just did what they said, and it was partially because of an industrial revolution. Everybody time. There was no time. Everyone was working 16 hours a day to have food to eat. Suddenly there's an industrial revolution. Only the aristocrats had like any free time. Suddenly everybody has free time. And people are thinking, people came to the conclusion that the Christianity is a lie. What happened in Judaism? In Judaism, 100 years ago, 90% of the Jews, or 150 years ago, 90% of the Jews were observant. 99%. Almost every grandfather of any secular Jew that you go speak to was religious. Any grandfather today, go to any grandfather, one generation back, they were all religious. Why? The answer is they started asking questions. And the answer was when you ask questions. You're born somewhere in Alabama, not religious. Whoa. You have a brain. You have to ask questions. Thousands of years, every Jew kept what it said on Ar Sinai, kept what it said, the mitzvot, and suddenly your parents dropped it, and your grandparents dropped it. Why did they drop it? You have to ask the same questions they asked. The answer is the question they asked, they were told don't ask. If you ask the questions, Rav Kook said we must create Talmidei Chachamim. There's two reasons why people drop the Torah mitzvahs in Judaism. One is because the Chilul Hashem. I don't have time to read books. I don't have time to read, to learn. It takes too long. Let me just see how the religious people behave. Oh, they lie. They don't. To be a tzaddik is to be careful. Don't make a Chilul Hashem. It's not something that only the holy people. Every person has to be careful on the way. But the second reason is they ask questions. And Rav Kook says, that person in the middle of nowhere didn't even know he was Jewish, found out he's Jewish. You must create a new generation of rabbis, know how to answer big questions in a very short and precise, because people don't have, they want to answer. I mean, you have to create rabbis like can answer generation. Is the answer? What happened 400 years? To do it. It don't make sense, and they just kind of like come are like they arrive in the dream. But it repeats itself over and over, and a dream says that there is a list of things that are 1/60th of something. Shabbos is 1/60th of Olam Haba. You get a taste. A dream is 1/60th of prophecy, and the fact that it happened over and over again. And this was something that he took seriously. In the beginning, he wasn't sure. That's why he kept just doing his thing. But and the same thing we know that with Eli. We know the story about Eli. When Shmuel was in the temple learning to be a prophet, suddenly he hears God speaking to him. Eli, Eli, and he goes running to Shmuel, Shmuel. He goes running to Eli. Did you call me? No, I didn't call you. He thought that, right? So, and then Eli said, no, it's God speaking to you. Next time when he says Shmuel, say what? Don't come running looking for me. This is a real dream. This is God speaking to you. So how do you say, movies, songs, things all over it. So we have so many things going on in our head. So most of the dreams today are not true. But Cook on understanding what is true in a dream, what's not, what you can learn from it. But the world of a dream is obviously, it's part of life. A third of our life, we are sleeping. A third of our life, we sleep. And obviously, and they did research that they didn't let people dream. The dreaming is the essence of the sleeping. They did research where they did it with first with the mouse, and then they did it with people. Where every time right before you go into REM to dreaming, where your eyes like move and you have dreaming, they woke them up every time before they had a dream. They were walking around exhausted, like they couldn't move. The dreaming is such a huge aspect of our life, and it's so important. And this was a dream that was coming from the soul of the king of Kuzari. And again, there are dreams that come from the Yetzer Hara. There's different dreams, but this was a real dream. And then, okay, let's keep going. So what did the angel tell him? Kavanatcha retzuya etzel Elohim aval maseh shecha eno ratzui. So we learn from here that it's not enough to have good intentions. Many people say, they say there's a famous statement in English that says, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Right? It's not enough. You have to do tshuva. And just one more side note regarding learning emunah. There was a great rabbi named Bar Kapara. He was very, very wise. The people would pay him a lot of money to get advice. He was a consultant. One guy paid him a lot of money. Give me a good advice. When you're hungry, eat. When you're thirsty, drink. When you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Wow. First of all, I have to tell you, learning this changed my life. Changed my life. How many times you're hungry, you don't eat. You're thirsty, you don't drink. You need the bathroom, you don't go to bed. So just on the pshat level, simple level, this is revolutionary. Just act on that. When you're hungry, eat. You're thirsty, drink. And when you need to use the bathroom, use the bathroom. But Rav Kook says something that you learn something deeper. He has a whole class on it. I'm just giving you the bottom line. When you're hungry, which means when you feel you need to learn the Torah, which is grounding, like food, which is Gemara, Halacha. So do it. And when you're thirsty, which is learning Emunah, is like water. It's uplifting. It's spiritual. It's water is purifying. That's the Emunah is the process. But you're talking, you're learning a chavruta. Suddenly you have this incredible. We spoke about in zrizut. What is zrizut? When you do something, don't postpone this opportunity. God your Shama just said something to you. Say, excuse me to your friend, I need to use the bathroom. And you go and you cry to Hashem, I want to be a better person. I feel bad for whatever I did. I want to grow. Get rid of that. Do that process of cleansing the negative out of you. Why am I mentioning this? Because the main thing we eat is food. And it's very important to know that when it comes to learning Emunah is a very potent and powerful learning. You need time to digest it. You need time to internalize it, to live it, to bring it into your life, to not just learn it. Because we're not here. We're here to become closer to Hashem. If you leave this class and you learned new things, waste of time. But if you left this class and you want to be closer to God, you got what you got out of it. This is not, and he said, when you learn Torah, like someone asked, there was a professor of Jewish studies, why aren't you religious? Do you ever ask the mathematician, why isn't he a square? Why isn't he a triangle? What does that have to do with the Torah? The knowledge it's something intellectual. No, intellectual learning. You're not here to learn new things. Learn another practice. He put out a lot of effort, a lot of respect. He wasn't doing it for money. He wasn't doing it. He was doing it because he really loved. This is a version of, if we learn this book word for word, we'll be here for 10 years and we won't get through the first line. But so we're running through. Not too fast, but not too slow. Okay, וזה גרם לו לחקור אודות דתות ואמונות. It made him go and check the different religions. So maybe we should go check different religions. Maybe we should go study comparative religions. Okay? And the answer is no. Other religions, they need to. Right? Islam, Christianity. Because, why? Because the other religions, they say that there was a Torah. And then God decided, then the Prophet came, Muhammad, or whoever it was, said it no longer applies. Islam, they say, since Muhammad came, everyone before him is worth nothing. They're all gone. He was the final word. Everything before him is canceled. Whatever he said was the new thing. So wait, if you come and you say, hey, that's my car, prove it. I'm driving my car. You can't say that's your car. They can't come and say that the whole Torah is gone. What do you mean? It's always been mine. I don't know. His name is Rav Yonatan Avshis. And his story was that he was very like a genius. The king, I don't know where this was in Poland, said, I want to meet this kid. And he said, I want to meet your son. He told the father. And here's how it's going to work. You're going to drop your son in the middle of the marketplace. And he has to find his way to the castle. Let's see if a kid can be so smart that he could make it to my castle. The kid arrives at the castle. How'd you get here, kid? I don't know how old he was, maybe 6, 7. What do you mean how to get here? I asked people. How did you know that they were lying, maybe? You know, a lot of people, they tell you, take left, right, left. They make a joke on you, or they don't even know. It says in the Mishnah, Lamed leshoncha lomar eni yodea. Teach yourself to say, I don't know. Because people have a very hard time to say, I don't know. They'll tell you left, right, there. They don't know, but I'm going to say, I don't know. So they'll make something up. How did you know that people would tell me the wrong thing? So I asked many people, and the majority of the people said the direction. That's how I got here. The king says, wow, everyone's clapping. Great, what a smart kid. Then they say to him, the king says to him, listen, the majority of the world doesn't believe in your religion. Come to our religion, because we are the majority. Same thing, how to get here. So then the majority of the world doesn't believe in your religion. So the Rav Yonatan Eifshitz says, if I'm standing in front of you, king, right now, and the majority of the world tells me that I'm not standing in front of you, do I believe them? He's like, I'm standing before the creator of the world. I know the Torah is true. I don't need to bring any faith, any proofs. I don't need anything. He says, like, for example, there's kids arguing. This is what he tells the king. There's kids arguing that in that castle there isn't a king. And one kid is sitting on the side, not getting involved in the discussion. Everyone's talking about king there isn't a king there. Is it all being staged? He says, the king's my father. Come to my house and meet him. So Jewish people, we don't need to bring proof of anything. We have it. But as we know, we get worn down, we get confused, we have, we need to learn. It's okay to learn, it's important to learn, especially as generations go. And we need to strengthen ourselves and to ignite our passion and our excitement. And okay? והתייהד לבסוף הוא וקהל הכוזרים. And he converted him, and this is obviously, this is historical proofs. Some people say only half converted, whatever it is, but this is historically documented. And okay, so basically, the story of Yehuda Levi it's a question and answer. It's something that it's not a documentation of what happened in the past. He took the idea and he asked the questions and he gave the answers. Okay, so it's not that real discussion between the king and the rabbi, but he used it as a nice safut, a literature way, a parable, or as a nice idea to base it around. And these discussions are things that are completely applicable for today, right? And he brought all of the questions that people could have on our religion. He brought everything, and it's all here. Again, he's going to talk about philosophy. He's going to talk about to a Christian. He's going to talk to the Muslim. It's not going to be in depth. It's not going to be. You're not learning now about the Christianity. He just gives you the foundations of what their religion is based on and why it's wrong, why and what we say, which is very important because these are questions that we have and we could have, and it's okay.
I have a chavruta at 3.
Please. Yeah, we're finishing in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes. אמרו, okay. כאשר ראה בחלום כבוד הצעה, so שאל פילוסוף אחד שהיה בדורו על אמונתו. So then he started with, and here it's very important to know, this is very hard for many people to accept. Learn how to ask for help from outside. I can do it on my own, I can figure it out on my own, No. Okay, it's a very important point. He went and he started with the philosopher. So next week we'll jump right into the discussion with the philosopher. But just this a concept of learning that not everything you can find on your own. Not everything you do on yourself. You can ask for help. You can ask to be educated. And why did he start with the philosopher? Because in religions there's it's based on assumptions. On pre-assumptions. And religion, philosophers, is all proven. It's all clear. So let's start with that. No assumptions. It's all sechel. It's all intellect. And then that's where we'll start with the philosopher, and then we'll go from there. Thank you very much, everybody.
Exactly.
Chazak u'baruch.
Thank you.
Thank you.